Out with the Walther PD380, absolute first shots through the gun. Got some MaxTech 95 grain and our target camera set up. That is a C-zone target about 20-ish yards away. It's been a while since I've shot a single stack. Let's see how this does. I'm just gonna stick with single action. And a miss. There we go. I'm not shooting great, or the sights are way off. We'll figure that out as the review goes on. However, I've got to say, very comfortable to shoot. It is small. Obviously, I've got large hands and it's a little bitty single stack, but having a lock breech 380, it's pretty nice. There we go. Nope, maybe not. And it locked open on empty. Love the paddle release. That was a comfy shooter. I'm not scared about the sights. They are adjustable. We might have to get to that as the review goes on. Let's see what Tia thinks. How was that double action?
It's what one would want a double action to feel like. There's no breaks in the wall or anything like that. I can do it again.
It doesn't decock, but you can, with the safety on, lower the hammer by pulling the trigger.
I don't know if safety's on when I see the red dot.
I don't know, let's find out.
I'm just gonna shoot.
Tia seems to have fixed my inaccuracy issues.
So the safety is off when you can see the red dot. Let's clear that up. I was confused by it because I was able to pull the trigger on that first round, but the safety was on, so it didn't go off, putting me in a double action.
Yes.
Which was a nice experience. I like to be able to know what that double action feels like in the event that that's how I am presenting my first round. That's a fun little gun to shoot.
It's pretty comfy.
Probably the best 380 experience that I've had. It's not too small so far. I've got some comments. Let's get on with it.
Next is full mag plus one. Next is full mag plus one. We do this because it's how it's encouraged to carry. It gives you max capacity. In this little gun, it's giving you 10 rounds. Not all guns run happily that way. Sometimes the magazine's a little tight. How did that fit in there?
Without an issue at all. Easier than a lot of guns that I've carried that way.
Good. And it can depend somewhat on the ammo as far as how the gun runs. So Tia's going to run through these 10 rounds, just getting a feel for the gun and making sure
I'm going to put it on double action.
Okay. Don't forget to go off safe now. No issues.
The gun ran with no problems.
So we know it can run fully stuffed with that MaxTech 95 grain. Next up is what's for dinner, when we'll find out what the gun will eat and how it performs with different ammo types. And it's what's for dinner time, where we're looking to see what the gun will eat. As we roll by these, you'll notice that they each have a different projectile weight. We've got different case materials, overall loaded length, different projectile types, etc. 3 rounds to see, does it feed from slide lock, cycle another round of the same type, and we'll lock open on empty. The 3rd round is just a bonus to reduce variables. We are able to do this thanks to our Patreon supporters and Ammo Squared supporters, as well as some shopping. If you're curious about any of this stuff, check the pinned comment for the article over at GBGunsDepot.com. We will link to sources of this stuff where we can find it.
So for 3 rounds from about 7 yards, I've got Civil Defense 50 grain. Circle number 1. Well, that went all over the place.
Good.
Circle number 2 is Winchester 85 grain. Let me double check that. 85 grain Winchester for circle number 2.
Yeah, the no slide release is something to get used to, that's for sure. Seem to like that ammo more.
Yes. Circle number 3 is Hornady's Critical Defense. This is a 90 grain ammo. For circle number 4 is the PPU 94 grain.
This is their defensive load hollow point. And
that would be the one I would pick.
Either Tia's learning it or that gun likes that ammo.
Circle number 5 is the PPU handgun line, also in 94 grain.
This is a regular FMJ load. Which also did better.
Nice.
Could be that, I mean, most 380 is around the 94, 95 grain. That's probably what the rifling is set up for, and maybe that's why the lighter loads weren't so happy. Circle 6, Blazer aluminum case, 95 grain. We use aluminum because, well, it's affordable, and it also doesn't run well in all guns. So we like to try to rule that out for you. Shot well, slightly chlorinated smell. Circle 7 is the Spear Lawman, also 95 grain. I could say Lawman, but Lawman sounds cooler. Little punchier.
It sounds heavier. More authoritative.
Got Lawman authority. No issues. Circle 8 is just some basic Fiocchi 95 grain ball ammo. Woo, even more punch. Yeah. Oh. We did not go all the way into battery that time. That could be brass out of spec, could be dirty chamber, could be free cap. Smells like peppered pasta.
Somebody didn't get breakfast.
Circle 9 is some Browning 95 grain, very flat point bullet. Beautiful black nickel plated case. Browning ammunition, I believe, is loaded by Winchester. A little more pop, but comfortable. Shot around.
The audible impression of like a Cadillac ride.
Yeah, it was smoky too, like the barrel's still smoking. Circle 10 is the Remington Ultimate Defense compact handgun, which, as a note, when you're running small barrels shorter than what ammunition was intended for, it doesn't hurt to seek out ammunition designed for those shorter barrels to make sure you get the same velocity. This is 102 grain, so it's heavy, and it's made for a short barrel. I'm expecting some personality in the recoil. Oh yeah, that's the first round to knock my support thumb off the frame. Indeed. You know, it's still softer than like a 9mm, but that was punchy. And I will also comment, since T and I have different hand sizes, that I have felt the slide kiss my hand, but not bite it yet. So if you've got...
You can see where your hand is, how that just barely goes over, but there's still enough room from where the intended tang is that comes out.
Yeah.
and the slide is intentionally designed over that.
Yes, so your hand should be stopping about here, but if you've got large hands or meatier hands and you're right up high, you can see the hammer is just like a few hairs height from hitting my skin. The slide still has plenty of space, so it must be the hammer that I'm feeling. It hasn't hurt yet, it hasn't bit me yet, like on...
I think if it had, you'd know.
Yeah, for sure. But it's close, so just something to be aware of on smaller guns like this. Next up is the spinner for sights and trigger control. That is our 6-inch Titan Great Outdoors spinner target, enhanced, thanks to my dad. We use this for sights and trigger control because it's a small target that starts moving. The more you hit it, the faster it moves. The more timing a well-placed shot becomes difficult. Using that MagTech 95 grain ammo, we've got 8 shots. To get a feel for sights and trigger, Tia's up first.
I love this game. Don't ever forget that. I love this game.
Tia absolutely hates the spinner, if anyone didn't know. So your hits were dead centered. Your sight picture, you know how to do a sight picture, you know how to work a trigger. Do you think the sights are off? What affected things for you?
I don't know, because like you said, the trigger, well, you didn't say it, I'll say it. The trigger for me is great. Like, I'm able to work that trigger fine. The sights seem to work great, but even at a longer distance, I was missing if I was going fast.
Yeah, after all those rounds we both threw at the steel from 20, that's all that we hit. And I think you did more hits than I did on the steel at 20.
I mean, I've got plenty of excuses. I haven't been to the range in months. It's a different caliber than I'm used to shooting. I might be putting too much push down on it, expecting more recoil. I mean, the possibilities of excuses are endless, but basically I didn't do it.
Well, and this is why we like to have 2 shooters, because we all have good days, bad days, guns that work with us, guns that don't work with us. You have been sorely missed on the channel when I have bad days, because there's nobody to make the gun look good. When we ran those different loads, we saw different results. I'm wondering if maybe it doesn't like this MagTech. We're using it as a range ammo because that's what we have, thanks to Ammo Squared. But we definitely, on What's for Dinner, saw that some loads printed better than others.
Yeah, and some people like some games more than others, so let's let him try.
All right, my turn. Same MagTech ammo.
Oh, I was hitting on the white.
No.
Oh.
It was, you had those 2 great ones on the red, and then everything, you had a lot of lows. So I'm going to try a little bit higher.
The advantages of going second. Oh. Had you hit that last one, it would have gone.
I couldn't see through the smoke.
The steam, the smoke.
It's a chilly day, so the stuff's extra smoky. The sights aren't bad. They're not the best, but they're not bad. The trigger is predictable, but does have a little extra weight on it because it's a defensive gun. It's not inappropriate for defensive carry. Oh, bleep, expletive, gotta save my life. Good trigger weight for that. Maybe a little heavy for trying to time shots on there, especially when you've got smoke in your way. And then, as we saw, 380 most definitely has less muzzle energy than 9mm because it's already stopped spinning just in a short amount of time, or stopped swinging. It just doesn't hit that hard. So don't worry about what you saw as far as spinner performance. That's not the objective of this. It's for us to comment on how the sights feel and the trigger feels, and it's all right. It's not, like I said, it's not a race gun. It's all right for a defensive gun. I really can't complain. Next up is practical accuracy. I think we'll stick with the MagTech, and then if we're still struggling, try a different load and see if maybe it's just that this gun doesn't like the MagTech. All right, 5 shots from 7 yards is our time to gather thoughts on the gun and potentially test practical accuracy with this 95 grain MagTech. Who knows? Guess we'll find out.
Oh, went too fast on the last one. Or maybe it was the 4th. I don't know.
That's pretty darn good. And if you're a first-time watcher, that's a 1-inch square from 7 yards, which is why we use that for practical accuracy. Okay, pressure's on. Thanks, Tia.
That's what I'm here for.
Now
You can do good.
we can't blame the ammo gun combo anymore. No, I want to try a double action first shot. So I'm doing that by putting it on safe, and then I'm going to lower the hammer, put it back on fire. Just to get it. Oh, that is a long reach. My fat finger doesn't reach very well onto that trigger tip. It was smooth.
I was impressed with how smooth it was. Saw that.
That's acceptable. I guess we were both wrong.
So I think our questions about the gun, the ammo, and all of that was kind of solved here for me, in that we're used to shooting a larger caliber, and we're probably overcompensating for recoil that you don't have to expect in the 380. That being said, a lot of 380s to me don't have an adequate amount of recoil, and you end up getting lazy. Or they're so small that they have an absurd amount of recoil and you just don't shoot your gun, which both are counterproductive to being a good concealed carry defensive person. So I think Walther kind of knocked it out of the park with this design. What some of the other features that I like are the double action option with the safety and a decock safely, because you do have to pull that trigger to do it. So that is definitely something that I would encourage people, if they're going to use, they practice at the range to ensure they know what position is what. That's something I would do, so please do it yourself. Another feature that I like was the paddle mag release. It took me a long time to get used to that, but having dropped many mags over the years, I do appreciate that, not having to take my hand out of a grip position to insert another mag. It's very handy. Also, I love this notch here that they've made for your grip. It allows you to not lose your thumb when fighting a little bit of recoil, and it lets you get in there and fill in those gaps a little bit better to get a better grip up on the gun. The serrations for me are a little bit aggressive. However, you know, in the heat of the moment, you need those reminders on your fingers, on your hands, because you're going to be sweaty and all of that stuff that we assume that we would be if we were ever in a gunfight.
Or, you know, if you've got big wintry gloves on that have, you know, all that insulation, that extra padding, so that when you grip things, you know, the glove can roll a little.
I appreciate and understand the reasoning for it. They were just initially very like, ouch, but haven't been out here in a while. My hands are a little soft. The sights would probably be the first thing that I would improve on this gun. This front sight for me has always helped if it's a different color, a little bit brighter. The rear sights I would black out. It just helps me get a better sight picture to be more accurate consistently. But overall, I'm super impressed with this and would encourage anybody looking for a little 380 carry gun to look into it.
A little small for my hands, but otherwise a very pleasant shooting experience. I think 380 has a bad rap thanks to the years of direct blowback tiny 380s. This has a locked breech. This has something you can get your whole hand on. Even my banana hands fit thanks to the little lip from that magazine. That makes for a comfortable shooting experience. I know people say single stacks are dead, but full mag plus one is 10 rounds. That's not bad at all. Yes, it's a little bit bigger than a micro compact 10 rounder, but whole hand on the gun makes for a whole lot more shooting comfort. Also makes for a better draw. I don't know if any of you that like the little tiny guns have tried to grab them quickly out of a holster for a timed drill. It can be scary. It's nice to have something you can get your whole hand on. So I think the recurring theme with the PD380 for me is comfort. This is a gun that's comfortable to shoot. It'd be comfortable to draw. It's comfortable to hold. The recoil's nice. I agree with Tia on the sights. I think I would go for something a little different, but it's not bad. And that double action, I know it might have been painfully long to watch during my accuracy thing, but I wanted to really feel it under load while firing, and it was smooth. There were no hiccups, no bumps, no stages or stacking to it. It just continual, constant weight, and then it went off. So overall, well done. We had some accuracy struggles at distance and on small targets from afar that we normally don't have. That could be an off shooting day. Could just be learning the gun. For me, this is about the limit of small gun before my hand size starts to be such a mismatch that I end up squeezing or trying to wrap around, or I end up with too much gap. So again, the ergonomics, I think they did really well. This heel that felt a little dominating at first is really how I hold on to the gun.
Is that interchangeable?
No, not interchangeable backstraps on this, which is a disappointment. But
I mean, honestly, to be fair, that's the most versatile hand-fitting gun in that size that we've experienced in a long time.
Yeah, it worked for my bananas and it worked for your lady hands. So
And sometimes all of those extra pieces and components and customizations and things like that can get daunting to a new gun owner, and so I might not recommend that option to them because they might get it configured in a way that doesn't fit and not have the comfortable knowledge to manipulate their gun to make it fit. So
yeah, this is one that you can just get on and learn. Good job, Walther. I'm impressed. I admit to you guys, when Walther said, "Hey, we've got this," I was like, "Oh, joy." But it's a good little gun. Yeah. I think it's a serious contender in the concealed carry market. People who comment about 380, if 380 is not enough for you, do volunteer to be shot by it?
Well, I can tell you from the 20 plus yards that we were shooting that steel, it was leaving a nice divot and splatter on that paint that I would not hesitate to carry it. As I get a little more dainty in my age, it's definitely something I would consider.
Tia's a rock star. Well, that concludes our shooting impressions of the Walther PD380. For full specs, more details, pricing, and stuff like etc., including the ammo we used, check the pinned comment over at gbgunsdepot.com is the full deeper review. Thanks for watching.